Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to this channel. My name is Elizabeth. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching us how to take accurate body measurements. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notified whenever I post a new tutorial. Without wasting much of our time, let's get started. We'll be discussing two types of measurement today. We'll be discussing the vertical measurement and the horizontal measurement. Vertical measurement are measurements that run vertically along the body. They run down from the shoulder to wherever you want to measure. While the horizontal measurements are the measurements that run across the body. They are the circumference of the body. For example, you have the chest circumference. You measure around the chest, the upper bust. Then the bust circumference, you measure around the bust area of the body. You measure around the under bust area of the body, and also measure around the waist circumference. Also measure around the hip circumference. Those are horizontal measurements. So let's start with the vertical measurement. We have shoulder to the chest point. Measure it like that. Then next we have shoulder to bust point. You measure it as you see me doing. Okay. Next one we have shoulder to on the bust point. You measure it as you see me doing. Next we have shoulder to waist. You follow the contour of the bust to the under bust and to the waist. I hope you are getting what I'm explaining here. So next to measure is the shoulder to hip. You have to follow the contour of the bust through to the under bust to the waist, then finally to the hip. So now we'll be taking our horizontal measurement. The first measurement on the list here we have the chest circumference. So you measure around the upper bust of the bodies of your clients. So you make sure you measure it accurately like you see me doing here. You can put a finger in between the tape rule and the person you're measuring to provide for a little amount of ease. Then next we have the bust circumference. You measure around the fullest part of the chest. So make sure your tape rule is right on top of the fullest part of the chest. That is the bust circumference. Okay, and you make sure you measure it accurately. Then next we have the under bust circumference. So you take your tape rule right below the upper part of the chest under the bust. So you measure it like you see me doing. Make sure you measure it accurately. If you want to leave a little amount of ease, you can put your finger under the tape and take your measurement. So we have next one, that is the waist circumference. So you measure around the smaller part of the body. We will also be measuring the hip circumference. So you put your tape around the bigger section of the body above the thigh. So you measure your hip circumference just like that. So make sure you make your measurements accurate. Make sure everything is measured accurately. Okay, so we move on to the next. We are going to measure the shoulder to shoulder measurements from one end of the shoulder to the other end of the shoulder. Okay, next we have the round armhole. You measure around the circumference of the armhole. Alright, it's because it's a mannequin, that is why it's like this. If you're measuring a real body, you just have to put your tape around the armhole of the person and measure around the armhole to get your armhole circumference. All right, so now let's assume this is the person you are to measure. So I want to show you how to do your measurements. So you put your tape rule around the fullest part of the person's body and you measure around the bust. That is your bust circumference. Then you measure the corresponding vertical measurement, your shoulder to bust point. Okay, you take your measurement like that. Next, you measure around the under bust of the person like this. Put your tape around the under bust area. Make sure the tape is straight, okay, on that level, and measure it round. Measure the corresponding vertical measurement, the shoulder to the under bust. You must follow the contour of the bust to get the measurement measured accurately. Okay, then next we have the waist circumference. You measure around the smaller parts of the body, the upper body, so you measure it round. That's on waist circumference. Then take your corresponding vertical measurements for that level, so you have a shoulder to waist length. Okay, so when you are measuring this, you must follow the contour of the bust through to the under bust, then to the waist. Then you have the hip circumference. You measure around the fullest part of the lower body above the thigh. That is your hip circumference. Having done that, you are going to measure the corresponding vertical measurement. That is your shoulder, so the hip. So you follow the contour of the bust as usual and take your shoulder to hip. Alright. Next, we are going to be measuring the round armhole of your client. You put your tape rule under the armpit of the person and you measure around the armhole just like that. So you can put a little bit of ease allowance, is optional. Okay, then we are going to be measuring the top arm. That is the fullest part of the upper arm, so you measure it round. You can also decide to add a little bit of ease there too. It's optional depending on what the kind of fit that you want to achieve. So next, I'll be measuring the sleeve length. It is important to note here that when you're measuring your sleeve length, you don't measure with the arm straight, you measure it with the arm slightly bent. So you need to ask the person you are measuring to bend their arm slightly so that you can measure it accurately with their arm slightly bent. Okay, so you measure from the shoulder to the elbow also. Then you measure your wrist circumference. Your wrist circumference must not be measured too tight, okay, because if you measure it too tight, your hand is not going to come out. So the ideal way of measuring your wrist circumference is to ensure that the hand can easily come out and you take the measurement down. Lastly, we're measuring the shoulder to shoulder measurement. So you put your tape rule at one end of the shoulder to the other end of the shoulder. Guys, this is where we call it a day. If you like this tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do well by subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notified whenever I post a new video. And don't forget to leave your comment on this comment section. Bye.